It's dinner time. Oscar is busy right here eating his chips, chicken nuggets, and spicy chicken nuggets. Mum is eating, I have no idea what this is. Oh yeah, malatang. It's like
Chinese 经典。
traditional Chinese stuff. It's spicy soup, and in there they just like throw a load of food in there, and it's like cooked and it's hot. Okay, cook a lot of food. And me, I of course am eating the super healthy New York hamburger. It's called New York hamburger. It's not actually a New York hamburger, but it's a hamburger. I got some spicy chicken nuggets, like Oscar. I got some chips, like Oscar. Eh? Just one portion of chips. And 2 pieces of chicken. Eh? I should have 2. I'm short 1 portion of chips, it seems. Anyway, not too worried about that because I got lots of chicken and a big massive hamburger and 2 mini bottles of Coke.
Wow.
So, all good. So I'm gonna sit here, eat that, and I'm probably gonna watch some YouTube while I eat. And what else on YouTube? Lots of stuff about money, making money, how to earn money, everything about money, money this, money that, because I need to learn about money because you can't have enough money, right? And what else? And this evening, me and Hillary are finally going to get around to watching Squid Game. But the funny thing is, because Squid Game is in Korean, me and Hillary, we can't watch it together because what usually happens is we either watch a Chinese show with Chinese subtitles, so I can understand it and Hillary can understand it, or we watch an English show with Chinese subtitles, because then I can understand it obviously, and then Hillary can follow along with the Chinese subtitles because she's used to watching the subtitles anyway when she watches TV. And what happens is when we watch a Chinese show, if it doesn't have any subtitles, I'm okay because I can understand the Chinese now. I don't need the subtitles as much because I can understand most of what they say. But when it's a Korean show with Chinese subtitles, Hillary's okay because she's watching a second language and reading her language, right? But for me, I'm a little bit out of it because I'm watching a language I don't understand at all and reading subtitles in my second language. So yeah, it's a bit more difficult. At least for Hillary, if she's watching a Chinese show with an English show, with Chinese subtitles, she is, at least getting her language in the subtitles. But for me, it's no. So we're going to watch it separately. I'm going to watch it on my iPad. She's going to watch it on her iPad. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, go. So we can get the subtitles that we need. And we can watch it together, but not on one screen, if that makes any sense. So that's going to be fun, and that will be later. But for now, I'm going to eat, and I'll get back to you in a minute. I interrupted this video to bring you an urgent announcement. It's not urgent at all. But, oh my, I just watched a video by a YouTube channel called Alpha Investments. I'll link to it in the description. And wow. I mean, a lot of it is stuff that I've already thought about, but it's just interesting when you hear someone else saying it for some reason. When you think about something and you think, nah, it's probably just me. And then when you hear someone else say the same thing that you were thinking, you're like, oh, whoa, oh my God, I'm clever. Or they're clever, or something. And it's like, yeah, he's just basically talking about, the whole video really is pretty much talking about inflation and how that works and how, when our parents were growing up, how much easier it was to have just a normal job and you were still able to do so much with just a normal job. Everyone could buy a house if they wanted to buy a house. Everyone could buy a car if they wanted to buy a car. I mean, cars were so expensive back in the day, but it was what I'm talking about is the amount of time it would take based on your full salary to save up for these things compared to now was just so much less. Like, sure, the credit wasn't there like it is now, which is part of the problem, but it's just interesting. He was talking about people who worked in restaurants. Like, if you worked in a restaurant back in the day, that was considered a normal job, not like a particularly low-paying job or anything. And actually, restaurant workers could get quite a lot through tips. And it was seen as quite a, if you get your tips, you're going to be making more than whatever job. But then as time went on, something happened, and restaurant workers' wages just didn't go up along with the price of everything else. So let's say you worked in a restaurant back in the 1950s, 60s. Your purchasing power, like what you could do with your money compared to now, if you worked in a restaurant, is just completely different. As in, you work in a restaurant in the 1950s or 60s, and it's a normal job, and you can save your money, and you could probably pay for a house outright without a mortgage after a set amount of years, within your lifetime, and like within a reasonable time, like not 30 years like mortgages are these days. Whereas now, if you work in a restaurant just as a normal, a regular staff, just a waitress, waiter, front desk, whatever they call them at the restaurants. I don't know what you call them. Anyway, if you just work in a restaurant these days and you're trying to just use your salary to buy a house, it's not going to happen. And that's the same actually in most places now around the world, because the world has come together with inflation. Everyone's trying to keep up with the US dollar, and as a result, everyone's inflation is going through the roof. So it's kind of crazy. And like, when I think to the UK and stuff, I realised I only just thought about this. Like the UK, when you go to a petrol station or a gas station, depending on where you're from, to fill up your car with petrol or gas. In the UK, there aren't people that stand there to help you put the gas, to help you fill up the car. You have to do it yourself. But most countries that I've visited outside of Europe, I've never actually noticed it in Europe, to be honest, but outside of Europe, most countries that I've been to, there's someone there to fill it up for you, and you don't even need to get out your car. And that is quite interesting, including China. And that's quite interesting, because that tells me that these places still have those sort of bottom level jobs, or their economies are still, developing. It's either or, because in the UK now, to hire one of those people to fill up the car, the cost of hiring that person would just mean that you'd be losing money all the time, because you wouldn't be able to run your petrol station making a profit if you had to hire like 4 people or more, depending on how many pumps you have, to fill up the cars. And in the UK, not only there aren't any people filling up the cars, but now most of the pumps are fully automatic, as in you don't even need to go into the station at all. You fill up your car by yourself, and then you pay at the pump with your card or whatever payment method they accept these days, I don't know. And you don't even need to go inside. So the staff inside, working inside, their days are numbered as well, because eventually the petrol stations will be fully automated. They'll just rely on the cameras at the top to check who's coming in and who's leaving without paying and stuff like that. And you might think, oh wow, that's really good because it's automated and stuff like that, but all it means is that there's fewer of those entry-level jobs for people to do, because it means that the barrier to entry has gone up another notch. So let's say people with like no education, no experience, people who might have just relied on a job like that to fill up the car, there isn't that job. And a lot of these sort of, I don't want to label them all as bottom level jobs, but the jobs where qualifications aren't as important as experience, you could say. A lot of those bottom level jobs are kind of disappearing. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing, because you can't be sure that in a society that everyone is going to have like high school education or a degree or a master's or a PhD. You can't guarantee that everyone's going to be, top level of study. But then if you're eliminating the bottom level jobs, what do these people do? if you go to a restaurant and you just need to scan a QR code, you don't even need a waiter. What are the people who used to be waiters? What are they going to do? You don't need someone to wash the dishes these days because you have dishwashers. So the people who used to wash dishes, what will they do now? Like, eliminating the bottom level of the jobs is not a good thing, and that's going to cause a lot of problems in the future, especially as prices continue to get higher for stuff, and especially as the money supply keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because the governments around the world now just printing money like it's monopoly or something. So it's quite interesting. What are the people who are working at the bottom going to do? Because in Western countries now we have machines and cameras to do everything. So it's quite interesting. And China's heading that way as well, but China's getting there much faster than the rest of the world. China's going to have this problem like, it's going to hit like a ton of bricks. In the next 5 to 10 years, China's going to have a massive unemployment problem. Because there are people, just for example, like in the generation above Hillary's generation, so Hillary's sort of mum's generation, that generation, there's a lot of people with no education whatsoever, because it wasn't compulsory at that time, and a lot of people just went straight to work. They went straight to help with the family and stuff like that. And those people are still of working age. So in the next 5 to 10 years, when most of the jobs are getting automated, what are people going to do? I really don't know. And that's just China. What about the rest of the world? Is it going to be like 1984, the Orwellian state, where everyone is monitored and tracked and, you know, eliminated if you don't have a good enough social credit score and all that stuff? Ooh, it's getting interesting. Anyway, I'm going to stop because I've been talking for quite a while and I don't know what I'm talking about now. So I'm going to go. It's been nice. Watch that video. It's in the link down below. That guy speaks a lot better than I do because he's obviously read a lot more about this than I have. So yeah, check him out. And I will speak to you again tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want. And I'm making these videos just for the purpose of getting a new computer. So see you soon. Bye.